Today on Inspection Empire Builder podcast, we're talking about report writing software that's going to scale for your company for the future and beyond. Well, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode of Inspection Empire Builder Podcast. Today we have Jeff Jones, and we're talking all things inspection software and how to run your business and scale it with growth. Hey, Jeff, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you, Matt?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Doing pretty good.
Thank you so much for having us.
Absolutely, man. I'm glad you're on the show. I'm actually excited about this one. We were talking about it a little bit ahead of time offline, and you are the guy that owns QuickInspect software. Is that correct?
That's correct. I'm the founder and CEO of QuickInspect. We call it QuickInspect Inspection Business Platform because it's a platform, not just a piece of software.
Oh, I love that. That's really good delineation. I know we were talking about that ahead of time. It's not just report writing. It's not just scheduling. It's not just invoicing. It's not just all the things. It's all that stuff. Basically an entire platform to run your whole business on. Is that correct?
It is. And of course, you can choose which pieces of that platform you want to use, right? We don't force people to use the entire platform, but we put it in one platform so that you have that capability and that it's super scalable and super efficient that way.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's pretty exciting to see what it is. And we'll dive into that a little bit deeper in a minute. But before we get there, I want to ask you, man, a couple quick things. Where are you located? Where are you from?
Here in Austin, Texas. I grew up right here in Austin, Central Texas. Went to school in Texas State and San Marcos and spent my life pretty much here in Austin. Of course, I've traveled the world with work and with business and in the industry, but I've stayed planted here in Central Texas.
All right, man. You say the industry. Does that mean you are a home inspector, or how did you get into software for home inspection?
Interestingly enough, no, I have been in the technology space, primarily building technology applications globally for big companies and building teams to support that. So support teams, product design and development teams, primarily from a vice president level, a general manager of some startups. And I grew up in the real estate space. My mother was in the real estate business and my brother-in-law's family was in the appraisal business in Round Rock, Texas. So I used to do appraisals when I was younger, before college. And so I, at one point, saw what was going on in the industry, and I saw an inspection report, and I was building applications for other people at the time. And I was like, wow, the industry at that time, even the ones that were doing really well and new to the industry, like the Spectoras and Hips and all those guys, I looked at their products and they just were 10 years behind the curve. And they seemed to have been built by someone that wasn't a technologist and a company builder, but someone that was a home inspector that had someone else build that app. And so we decided to build a better scalable product and a better scalable company with people that are experienced that I've worked with in the past 25 years. So that's what I'm from. I started out at IBM. That was my first career out of college. I worked in cloud and big data and analytics. And then I got into product development and actually developing applications for companies. And I worked over the years with most of the national laboratories. You and I had mentioned that. You said Albuquerque.
Yep.
I worked with Los Alamos and Sandia Laboratories, Lawrence Livermore.
Yep.
So all those big companies have used software that I've had in my past to run their business. And so I decided that I would build a company and a software for myself, right? And for those inspectors that really needed a better product, so that the product's not just great today, but it scales and it grows with the inspectors and with those people as they help me improve the product. And that's how we've grown over the past 5 years through that influence. We have inspectors on our team, obviously, that are major influencers in the product, but pretty much everybody on the app is an influencer in the product. and
Nice.
in the future
Yeah.
of that product.
No, that's really good. I was going to ask you. So, with a lot of these softwares that are out there, you have people from the real estate industry trying to create a software for the industry. So you have inspectors, and I mean, I've interviewed multiple inspection software companies, even on this show, and all of them tend to have like either a realtor or a inspector background before they decided I'm going to go solve this problem that I see out there. And because they're seeing it from the real estate or inspector side of things, but
Sure.
you're coming at it from the technology side of it and on the background and saying, I can design a superior product for this problem because your background is on the technology side, not necessarily on the inspector side.
Yeah.
Is that kind of what I'm picking up?
It is. I think if you look at it and you look at the industry, a lot of these products were built sort of a static time period, right? There was a place in time. They paid someone to build an app for them. They built it, but it really was like a foundation that was ready to support one or two or three stories. And now they have thousands of stories on top of it. And the people that built that foundation aren't there anymore. So they have new people coming in trying to support that foundation underneath it while it's got 1,000 stories on top of it. And we've taken a completely different approach. We've built our application from the ground up, knowing that it's going to grow. It's going to grow in ways that we may not know, but we're prepared for because we've done this before. We've built thousands of applications. And so we built it so that it can support 1,000 stories, but it only may have 25 stories on it right now, but the foundation, the plumbing, and all the infrastructure is there, and the infrastructure is scalable. And so these other companies have come from an approach like, okay, we're going to give the inspectors what they want because we know what they want.
Right.
They didn't do it from a like, how should the technology be designed to do that? Not just how are they going to use it. So our craft is UX, UI, simple, easy to understand, easy to move from one product to another. They come to our product and it's an intuitive experience, like an Apple experience, right?
Okay.
And that's what we strive for, is like, it should be familiar to you when you use the app, how you should do things and, how to use the product.
Yeah, no, I think that's fantastic. In fact, I've heard feedback from other companies and other people using other companies and how as the product grows, it becomes unstable and has some struggles and bumps along the way. And I don't really understand software very much, but what you're describing makes sense. They just didn't put enough plumbing and electrical infrastructure into the basement to support 1,000 stories. They were planning on 25. And then now these apps have grown and they're great products, but I see what you mean. And I've heard it from multiple different companies. As those things grow, they start getting glitchy and having some struggles.
It happens today too, Matt. If you see, there are new products in the market today that are coming out, and they're, one of the big things that they boast about is that they're a home inspector that built it, right?
Yeah.
This guy went, or these people, others, I've seen many of them, they go and they get some team in, the Middle East or India or Pakistan or whatever to help them develop it. But then they don't have the experience to support a company, a product. We come from it from a product side where we've built a product that we know it's going to have to scale. And so we're the team that builds that app. It's not some other team built that for someone. So it's a big difference. It's a bit, and if you look at the rest of the world, that's how things are done, right? You don't go get a driver and say, hey, let's build a car for you. Just one driver or just a home inspector. You know what I mean? Okay.
Right.
What car does a plumber want to drive? It's not done that way. There's research that's done, there's understanding that's done, and then they develop a product, and then they take feedback and input from the users. They take, like we do, we take data and input that we get from how people are using the product to help develop it. So without even having to communicate in a lot of ways to our inspectors, we intuitively know, based on the data we see, the things that we should do to improve the product. And then there are other ways where we have direct feedback mechanisms where they can just tell us, hey, this is something that we see. And so we take that direction.
I see. Yeah, I see exactly what you're saying. And I think you're right. That totally makes sense.
Yeah.
And so you're building like an enterprise class software application.
Precisely.
Yeah. And whereas, right. And you're starting from the foundation up,
Mhm.
whereas a lot of times these other companies, they just did it from the other way where they're like, I have a vision for what I want my software to look like. And they go hire people to make that happen.
Yeah.
But I
And
see
now they're
how the
trying to take
mentality
loose talent.
difference.
They're trying to make
Yeah.
it mobile now. Yep,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, but I see the mentality difference. And then when you have a different mindset, you're going to build something differently, which is the case for everything. You have a different mindset in business, different mindset with culture, different mindset with everything you're going to do with building anything. Your mindset matters. And I see how your approach and your mindset is coming from the enterprise application world, bringing that into this home inspection industry. You're
Yep.
coming at it from a different angle. And I see what you mean about building a different kind of foundation that creates it scalable for 1,000 stories from day one.
Precisely. And then what we do from a company's perspective, from an organization and how we help home inspectors, not from a software perspective, is we bring our understanding of building startups and building our own businesses, and we help inspectors in that regard. We don't just sign up users. We build personal relationships with every one of the folks that are on our platform. We look at ways that we can help them, whether it's a better website or if they need ideas and understandings of how to use social media, digital technology. Those are things we've been doing for 20 years. Maybe they weren't even here 20 years ago, but
Yeah.
in the infancy of those, I was building companies, and my team and I were doing things in social media and digital space that are very valuable resources for the home inspectors on our platform. And so we do seminars and blogs, and we have personal one-on-one meetings with folks and help them in that regard as well. So not to just have our software, but to build a better business in a digital world that we're
Yeah,
in.
that's so cool. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot, man. Yeah. And so you've been doing it for like 5 years, you said, is that right?
QuickInspect has been in the business as a product for 5 years. We started out here in Texas primarily. We've got tons of traction across the U.S. I would say if I were to pinpoint 3 states we do the best in, it's Texas, Florida, and California. But
Okay.
we're across the U.S. We're in Canada. We also have some users in Panama. But yeah, we do thousands of inspections a week. We've got hundreds of inspectors on our platform. They love it. Um, I think what they love more is most than anything, most of all, is that we listen to them, and if they have a problem, which everyone does from one time or another, we're there, we're spot on. It doesn't matter what time of day it is or night. It's super important to us because we know how important it is. It's your reputation as an
Yeah.
inspector. It means everything. And we don't want you to have to sweat whether the PDF is there or things are done right. We want to make sure that we're doing the sweating on that, not you.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. And it's an interesting industry, especially when you're first getting started. So there's different levels of business within the inspector world. There's the solo guys, the solopreneurs
Yep.
that and they're a one-man operation. They answer their phone, they schedule their thing, they go do the work. They do all of it from bumper to bumper on the entire business. And that's a nice business because you don't have any employees, and the only headaches are the ones you made. You don't have to fix anybody else's headaches, and so those guys, but because I was that guy, that's how I got started, and I built my business up to multi-inspectors firm now. But in the beginning, I remember when I was getting busy, I was doing maybe 3 inspections during the day, and then I would come back home at the end of the night and be finishing up reports and getting them out because one of my differentiators was same day reports, and I actually saw that on your website. You
Yep.
guys also kind of have, hey, we have a same day reporting system, meaning
Mhm.
your reporting system is going to be fast and smooth. So here's the thing that I know, like if the solo guy is getting done with 3 a day, it's summer, it's late, he's getting home 7 o'clock at night, he's going to eat dinner with the family, he's going to sit back down on his couch with his laptop and start pounding out the reports. And at some point in time, he's going to be like, shoot, this isn't working, or I have a technical question. If he sets a technical question in, at 9 o'clock at night, I mean, he's probably not going to hear anything till like the next day. Is that pretty typical?
No, actually, he'd probably hear something back that evening, either in the next 5 minutes or sometime that evening, depending on when it is. We have a chat bubble that we have everyone on our team monitor, but I primarily monitor it and answer those questions, the front line, to make sure that it's all handled the right way and it gets to the right person that needs to help them. So yeah, they can guarantee, I almost guarantee you they'll get a response within 2 hours at the longest. We'll get back. We may not solve their problem that evening, but we'll at least know about it and get started.
Well, that makes sense. Yeah. Because
Yeah.
sometimes it's like, oh no, it's right here. Here's the link to fix it, or here's how you change that. Or it's like, let me fix that. Our tech guys will take care of that in the morning. I could see that if
Yeah.
there's like a technical glitch versus I'm stuck and can't figure this out.
Oh yeah, there's stuff we don't. Our questions aren't usually we're stuck and can't figure it out unless you're just starting out, right?
Okay.
Usually the challenges that they have might be some technical understanding of how to do something, and so yeah, we'll get on that. But yeah, we're top notch as far as support goes. We know that. I mean, it's as important to you that you provide great support for your customers as it is to us.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And so as a business, home inspection business is scaling, right? So I was just a solo guy for a while, eventually had office staff, and then eventually started adding inspectors, and the thing started building and building and building and building, right? And so we just finished 6 years in business, actually. Yeah, so we started just before you guys got started. And we're up to almost 10 inspectors right now. We have some in training coming out. So by the time this thing airs, we might have 10 in the field. And I'm not sure we'll see when they get out of training. So as I've scaled right now, my needs have changed significantly from what I need from software. Well, I need a lot more things as a multi-inspector firm than I didn't need when I was a solo guy. Yep. And so things like API integration. Do you guys have API integration into other apps, like other CRM systems, like if I'm running a mass email program, if I'm running CRM systems and other types of other softwares that want to connect? Do you guys have API for that?
Well, we do, but what you're alluding to, we're actually working on right now, which is a team component to our application. And that's coming out real soon. What we've done is we've converted to microservices, and our microservices is going to enable us to do that a lot quicker. So some of those things that you're talking about, the integration with like a
Zoho for like Zoho, CRM, customer management system.
Yep, and maybe do a customer IO, right? If you want to do automated outreach email and stuff, we're doing that. That's our next iteration. Right now, we focused really on the individual inspector, and that's what we've been doing over the last 5 years. But we are prepared to cross that chasm, and we've done all of our due diligence to do that. So yeah, that's in the next 3 months, you'll see that component as part of our software.
Oh, that's awesome. And and currently it's what, May? And we're May of 2025 right now. Yeah. And this recording. Yeah. So June, July, August. So by the end, probably fall of 2025, we can see those features coming out.
August at the latest, probably September, maybe.
Okay. That sounds great. That's awesome. I love that you guys are developing those things and
always progressing our software. That's the thing. It's a living, breathing organism. That's the way we look at it. And the feedback and what customers want is what we end up producing. So what we did is went through a phase where we got customer feedback, and then we put together a SWAT team, and then that SWAT team sat down with us and said, well, what does that look like? What do you want it to look like? And so we built those designs. And so once you build the designs, then you go off and you develop it. And that's where we are right now.
I love that. Yeah. And so, okay. So I've got a couple other technical questions because these are the things that I'm running through my head right now.
Sure.
So the integrations, things like a Zoho or a CRM, or integrations with like even a phone system, whether they're using like Dialpad or Ring Central, things like that would be like really cool. But things like that, I don't know. Those are pain points that I've always felt using other softwares that I'm like, I wish it would integrate better. And,
so what would you do from Dialpad, for instance?
Well, like if you're on your laptop and you just hit the call button and just automatically just call them through whatever your software is. And maybe that's a computer integration or a phone integration more than that's different.
I mean, we already have that when you're in the app from your phone.
Okay.
It'll dial straight from that. It'll email straight from that.
Okay. That's awesome.
Not necessarily a dial pad. It's got Google integration. So when you go to, let's say you want to see where you are, like where your next inspection is, you can navigate using Google Maps and all that stuff as well.
Oh, that's nice.
So there are some of those integrations, but there's certainly more coming on the cusp.
Yep. Yeah. What about, do you guys do payment processing through your app as well?
We do payment processing. Currently, we have a payment processor named Fortis. It's a
Okay.
payment part. They're our partner, and very well known across the I think the
Yep.
gaming industry and things of that nature. But yeah, they
Yep.
you
I've seen that before. I've heard that one before.
yeah, you sign up through the app and they approve it, and once they get approved, we get a a notification and we turn it on. Yeah.
Oh, that sounds great. Yeah. And so is that the only payment processing option? It's just through the one you have integrated?
For now, it is,
Yeah.
but we're going to move to Stripe. When we move to our multi-inspector, we're looking to take our payment processing to Stripe because we use Stripe internally.
Yeah.
But we decided to go with Fortis on the other end because it was just simpler to get started and get rolling. But yeah.
No, that's how every business is, man. When you're starting a business up, you go, here's the path, and I'll use this for now because it works for now. But pretty soon, if I outgrow it, then it's like I'm outgrowing this. Well, now it's time to figure out what the next step is for the next season of growth. That's the way every business is. Whether it's the kind of ladders you're using or the sewer scopes you're using, or you just move as you move. And yeah, I get that, being flexible and finding the solution.
Alternative solution, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And so how about like contract management? So I'm sending out contracts for people to sign. They do it all digitally through a thing. And then you guys, is that all integrated as part of your platform as well?
It is. We have
Awesome.
an agreements and e-signature component. You can essentially, within the agreements section, you can upload a multitude of agreements and save them as templates. So you could have 50 different agreements. Let's say you have a pool or a roof or a commercial agreement, what have you.
Got it. So I could have my WDO pest control agreement. I could have my full home inspection agreement. I could have my sewer scope agreement. I could have whatever different agreements that I have drafted up for the different services that I offer. Exactly. And that they can go through and like click through them and digitally sign them all. So they're all signed ahead of time.
Yes. You essentially, when you set up the template, you set up where's the customer going to sign? Where's the date? Just like you would in any signature document.
That's awesome. Yeah.
It's essentially like a Word document when you're working on it. So you can highlight things, you can put in links within your agreement. You can
nice.
It's completely customizable. And when you send it, all the back office happens. And that happens with our report delivery. Obviously, you get in, there's a buttoned up email that you get that's branded. You get confirmation. You get a PDF that is generated and put within it. It's all based on the inspection.
That's cool.
So
okay,
within that inspection is where you decide to add and generate that agreement to be sent. Who are you going to send it to and send it off to? And then the report of the status of that is in there within that. And that's also where you would send an invoice from.
Nice. Okay. So we've got payments, we've got invoicing, we've got
scheduler. So
scheduler.
Your own.
Does it do like an online scheduler that you can put into your website?
Yeah, you can put it on a button. We're going to flesh it out a little bit more, but essentially now it takes your basic information and what do you want? Home commercial inspection. What is it you want? What's the size of the property? What is the property? If you want to put an image, and then that puts that right into your home inspection dashboard within QuickInspect. And
nice.
You get a notification in email. Your customer gets a notification within there as well.
Yeah. Okay, that's awesome. So you got the scheduler. We've got. I mean, that's a lot of features that come with it, which is pretty good.
You upload your photo. You upload your own logo. You choose your hex color, and so everything that goes out, whether it's an email or your report, is branded with your logo, your color, all your data. So it looks like your report. It's not my report.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, that's really good. And so like automated emails and stuff, like reminder emails to people that can go out, maybe reminder text messages. Do you guys do that as well?
We have automated emails. We didn't do text messages yet, but it's something we do.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know if text messages are necessary, but
we haven't had people call for it, but if people ask for it, we'll do it. That's how we work.
See, that's kind of nice working with a company where it's like you guys are there on site and you're building it right there. That's a really cool aspect because you can listen and implement things quickly.
Our whole team is here in the U.S. We've all been doing this as a team for the last 15 years together. building software applications. Personally, I've been doing it for about 25 years. And we're here in North America. We're not an outsourced team. We're the team that builds the application.
Man, that's awesome. And okay, so I got to ask, why home inspection? Because like you could build software for a lot of things. And this is kind of a small industry. Like there's not, there's maybe 20, 30,000 home inspectors across the country.
Yeah. So a couple things. Really, I got into it because I saw the need and I really wanted to do something for myself that would build something for me and my family for the future and that I could pass along. And having a background in our family in real estate and appraisals, it seemed like a no-brainer. And I had already had folks coming to me asking me to build an app for this, an app for that. And I had that sort of let's build an app in the back of my mind. And so when it really hit, it hit. And I was like, look, this is a great opportunity. I know plenty of home inspectors, appraisers. My girlfriend is a real estate agent. And so I know the market very well. And so, it wasn't really a stretch to understand the market. And particularly with all the stuff that we're doing with partnerships and other things like that, we have a lot of knowledge base from the home inspection industry that's integrated into our product and into our company. So, we're also home inspectors at this point, right? We have people, that are super influencers that are just like you, that every day they go to work and they're a home inspector and they're involved in us, in our company as well. So, yep.
That's awesome, man. That's really good. Is this the only software you guys have right now? Because as a software developer?
Oh yeah. Well, this is the only one that we have that's like ours and that we own. That we've built plenty that we've handed over to Home Depot and Merrill Lynch and big companies over the years for them to go and operate their companies off of. We built at one time a application, a global app that had like 150 different languages and like 50 different currencies.
Wow.
Really complicated solution that we did, but it wasn't ours, right? And that was something that we built for others. And it was one of the reasons that made us go, look, everybody's doing the app building thing. We should put our stake in the ground. And so
I love that.
Hirsch I've got a partner, his name Hirsch, and another partner named Elid. And so Hirsch and I have been working together for many, many years. And Elid is he's actually the nephew of a friend of mine that is Romanian that moved over here many, many years ago. And he works in the cloud computing space. And his nephew was in the software development space and living here and going to UT. And so we decided that we would hire him as well. And so we all partnered together, and then we built the team from there. So it's a team of 3 that we started the partnership with, and now we're up to about 12 total.
Nice.
Organization standpoint.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. So it's growing, man. It's going really good then. I love that.
Yeah. Very much. Yeah.
That's really fantastic, man. Yeah. That's really good.
Thank you, sir.
Love it. So yeah, man. So, on the inspector writing side of it. So I've been talking about the back end and some of that, but so the inspectors that are writing reports, what are some of the feedback you hear from inspectors what are the things that they really seem to love about it?
That it's intuitive and easy to understand and easy to pull in a template and a library of narratives from the competitors. We have people moving from our major competitors. You can imagine who they are. They pull their template over. We import that template and all their narratives where they are, and they show up on our report where they are, and they're inspecting literally that afternoon because it's intuitive. It's an Apple or a Android experience for people, not something that they don't feel familiar with. So it's the familiarity of the app because of our expertise with UX UI design.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. So you import, because if you got a guy that's already running, right? The thought in my head, like the panic attack I have of like, how would I switch over everything from my current system to this system feels a little overwhelming. It's like, whoa, this is going to be a huge project. It's going to take a ton of man hours. But you're saying you guys actually do the conversion of templates over and all the different things. Like you'll actually say, okay, give me access to your existing platform, and you'll guys actually bring it all over for us.
Yes, you have if you're in Inspector or Home Inspector Pro or one of those, Home Gauge,
right? Yep.
You can export your template, right, in a CSV format. You send us that template in a CSV format. We import it and make it available to you and all the narratives that you have in place where they're there and available
Nice.
to you. Yeah.
That's awesome. So you got a guy out running, like my guys all run on iPads, right? That's how we're doing it at least.
Yep.
And so, and then is it a web-based application?
It is.
Or is it, okay, so did you have to have internet on site? Like what if you're out in some remote area that doesn't have internet?
If you don't have internet, you don't have access. That's just how it is right now. We're going to come up with an offline solution, but it's very few and far between that it happens these days, to be honest. I mean, it may happen, right? But you have Wi-Fi and you have internet access on your phone primarily. What folks do now is if they don't have access, they take a bunch of photos and go back and build it somewhere else when they do have a connection, just like you would with any other app that you didn't have access to, right? I mean, some apps just don't work when it's offline. We'll do an offline component at some point, but
right.
we don't have it yet. No.
Yeah, because every once in a while, like, so I live in New Mexico, and Albuquerque is, a metro area.
Sure.
But there's like New Mexico is pretty remote. Like there's places where you got to go out in the middle of stinking nowhere. And so we've run into that a couple of times now over the last few years, and we do a few thousand inspections a year. And so the percentage is below 1%. It's below 1%. We've had this issue, but you go out there and then you're like, well, like now I don't have any. So now you're taking pictures and you're having to kind of go a little bit old school with the way you're doing it, and then come back and put it back in the app later. Is that yours are the same way then?
It is. We'll fix it. We've got answers that we're going to do where we're going to have basically just an offline app that you'll open up and fill it out or what have you. But it hasn't been that big of a pain point. We've solved other big pain points in the meantime is what we've done. Yeah,
that makes sense. I mean, these are just the things that I look at as I'm hitting software, like, okay, where am I, what am I loving? What am I not loving? Yeah. And then you advertise like saying,
when folks are like, what do we want more? This, that, or the other. And we, people wanted a scheduler, people wanted payment processing. And so those are things that we focused on along the way. And we'll get to that, and we'll do it if it's super important for people.
Yeah, that makes sense. You just kind of solve the pain points as they're coming up.
Yep.
Yeah, I love that. And so, and then you on your website, I saw something about, you kind of have I saw a blurb about like doing same day reports. And is a report writer like set up to be able to get that stuff out really quickly?
Well, so the report's being built in the background as you're doing it, right? And if let's say you've already imported from another competitor where you have narratives already in place, or you use our app and you have them and you can store those narratives in a spot, a lot of your reports done, but it's essentially walking through the home, ticking boxes, taking photos, and accessing either the narrative library. You can make voice comments along the way. And as you're building that report, you can at any point see what it looks like along the way. So you can see, well, what's it going to look, the digital piece of it, right? It doesn't produce a PDF to the end, but along the way, you can see what that digital report looks like as you're building it. And there are a couple ways to do it. Obviously we have a bunch of different templates. We have your Trek template. We have wind mitigation for InterNACHI. You can build your own template. You can import clone templates. We have a template builder. So we've had people build templates from scratch. We had someone come in and build an RV template. So we have RV inspectors that inspect with our application as well. And so once you do that, then you come in and you build it pretty quickly and pretty easily, and it's already ready to go with your logo, your color, all of your branding when you are done. So when you leave the property, you should be confident in the fact that what you've done is what you've done. We don't change any of the language. If that's the narrative you put in there, that's the narrative that will appear on the report.
Yeah.
So you can get ready and send it. And so most of I would say 70 to 80% of ours are sent from the property.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's something that my crew always is really good at is, so we've got our template dialed in now to where as you're going through the house and the system that we have in place, by the end of it, you're right, it's like 95% done all our guys end up doing is they open up on their laptop in the van, and then we have, Wi-Fi hotspots and stuff. So in the van, they open it up and they kind of just log in, they look at it right there, kind of make sure there's no spelling errors, no grammatical issues.
Yep.
They kind of just roll through their comments and stuff, and just double check some of that stuff, make sure, did I phrase that the way I meant to? So they kind of roll through the defects and the things and kind of go through. They have a little way to do it, but there's a lot of times that a house can be published right from the driveway of the house. Right now, the way we're doing it, that's super important to us. I love that your report's doing the same thing. So it's building it as it's going. And so then by the time you're done with your on-site portion of the inspection, the report's been built in the back end. Just a quick double check, make sure you have your stuff right, and then you can hit send.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can send it to any number of people that are in that contact list for that inspection, and they all get it at the same time. Of course, I mean, you've heard this with other apps, but it's viewable on any device. That's what's super important. And
super important. Yeah, right there on their phone, they can pull it up and they can scroll through. Obviously, a bigger screen is going to give a better experience, and but yeah, I totally get that.
Yeah, and the way we have opening drawers and such that when you see it, you're like, okay, plumbing, it opens up. You see plumbing, you close it. You can go, or you don't have to close it. You go to the next one and open it up, and the images are all in there. Another important thing to talk about is there are different ways that people like to inspect. Some people like to just walk through and take a bunch of photos in different sections and subsections of the house. And we allow for that. There's an area where you just take photos. But then at some point, and those photos are staged so that when you come back and make a comment, you choose which photos, maybe all of them, or which ones you want to attach to it. Or the other way is to come in and, you're making a comment and then attaching whatever photos you have to the comment. Those automatically go into the report. The other way, you're staging them until you
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, because different people do approach their inspection process differently.
Yep.
I mean, I think for every inspector, you got to have a flow and a pattern, and you stick to that same flow and pattern. So whether it's walking and taking photos and then come back later and throwing them in there, or whether they're going, like, I see what you're saying. There's different ways that they do it.
And then we also, another thing is to our templates, because of that, because some people like to inspect differently, and some states have laws where you can, have some levity on how you do it. We have also I call it a speed template, but it's a template that I created where the narratives are essentially checkboxes. So you essentially walk through the home and check, so if you're in plumbing, you have 2 or 3 things that are typical in that area, and they're available to you. Same with, let's say, flooring or whatever section of the house you're in. Those narratives that are typical for that area are available as a checkbox. So you fly through the house and check it off. And it's a super popular template in Florida and other places like that. So.
Nice. Yeah. That sounds good. I like how it's built that way for being able to be efficient with your time. I mean, because when you're doing inspections, time is money, and if your software is slowing you down, you don't want that. We want your software to be able to work at a speed and in a way that is conducive to how that inspector inspects. So that way it gets done correctly, accurately, and it gets done fast.
Exactly. You want it accurate. That's the most important thing. We all know that.
Yes.
You want good information in there, and you want a satisfied customer. But if you can get done, 6 inspections in 3 days and not 2 or whatever that number is, if you can increase that number because you're going faster and going equally as efficient and effectively, then that's a much better thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. If you can have both accuracy and speed, and that's incredible. Because then you're not out all night. As the inspector, it's like, okay, I have my 2 inspections today, or maybe 3 inspections today. If you got enough of experience and speed, but the software can keep up with it. Then that's the thing, is like the software needs to be something that's enhancing that, not limiting it. And your stuff is written to be able to do both accurate and fast.
Yep.
I love that. That's a good thing.
Awesome.
Yeah, that helps inspectors make more money. It helps them spend more time with the things that matter most, like their wives and kids and family. And golf. And golf, right? Yeah, you don't want to get home at the end of the day and be at 7:00 at night sitting down and then typing reports out all night long and trying to get, and then you're on your couch till 9:30, and then you got to get up early in the morning and do it again. Well, that's not any way to live life, right? And so, but that's what happens with inspectors is they go out, do a couple inspections, and they're sitting at home getting these reports all the way they wanted to get them done, and they don't have that speed component. And so it's good that you guys are written that way to both handle speed and accuracy, man. That's a good thing for the industry.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's good. That's really good, man. I love that. Wow. So is there a feature in your software that is like innovative and different than other softwares offer for the report writing?
Well, I wouldn't say there's any feature that's innovative because I mean, obviously there are features that you want. Everybody wants the same basic features. What
Yeah.
our differentiator is how we are architected and our ability to build a better technology. And so, but I would say what really is exciting is what we're doing into the future with some of our multi-inspector stuff that we've got on the cusp. And I would say just, our ability to support the customer and to drive the product in the direction that the software, that the customers want. That's really our differentiator. If you look out there, there aren't a lot of software companies with, one has a differentiator over the other one, other than maybe market share a little bit at this point. But what differentiates them is how do they support their customers and
Yep.
how they build their product, really.
That's a big differentiator. Yeah,
And it's
absolutely.
really the only differentiators in the market. If you take a look at, ISN, Inspectora, I mean, and, what do they offer their customers, right? And we do offer our customers a ton of insight and support and understanding of what to do from a digital perspective, how to better market yourself and build business, because
Mm-hmm.
we have that entrepreneur background. But from what we really help customers with is a better software solution that grows with them that they can rely on. And if
Yeah,
for whatever reason there's a challenge, we have a support team that knows how to support them.
that's fantastic. So you're talking about going into the multi-inspector space. Um, as it stands now, if you had perhaps a larger house and two inspectors on site at the same time, each with their own iPads, inputting data, is that possible now?
Yeah.
Okay, so we did a hotel just recently,
Mhm.
and I had 6 guys out on this hotel at the same time.
Yep.
I was in the lobby on my laptop, kind of quarterbacking it, and
Yep.
we were dividing and conquering. Guys, okay, you're going to handle these systems, these systems. I could sit on my laptop and see parts of the report like filling in as they were out there working it. And you guys can do that now. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay, so then when you're talking about multi-inspector, what are some of the things that you're rolling out that are going to be different? So it's not multiple inspectors on one
It's
building.
this is
What do you mean by
the
that?
Teams component. Then let's say a multi inspectors, you can have as many as you want log into your account and do an inspection, as you mentioned, and it builds it simultaneously. There's no sync; it's just automatic.
Yeah.
But what we're building is a team component and a way for which a administrator can administrate jobs and tasks and make sure they know who's got what, and then the scheduler that can live up to that as well, so they can distribute those jobs on that scheduler. And so John's got these jobs on this day, and Becky's got these jobs on this day, and then you have an administrator that can look over that. And if maybe John has an overlap or something, Becky can change those jobs. All those types of components that you would want.
Got it. That makes sense.
And then,
Yeah. So if I have a guy living on the north end,
I'm sorry, and then more business insight we're building into it as well.
oh, that's good. That's really good. Yeah. So if I have John lives on the north end of town and Joe lives in the south end of town, I can assign like, hey, John covers this territory, Joe covers this territory, and just to keep people from like driving all crazy all the time.
Well, yeah, in that situation, we've got essentially where you would draw a polygon around people and set it up that way. Yes.
Perfect. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Okay, that's awesome. I like that. That's fantastic too, man. So I love it, man. You're building a foundation. You got a foundation that can handle all the stories. You got a software that's running smooth. You're scaling and growing your business, which helps other businesses grow and scale. And you're trying to make it simple, fast, accurate. I mean, it sounds like you have a great thing going over there.
We do. Our inspectors love it. We have great rapport with them, and we've had people on the app since day one, still there, and happy that they are. So
that's fantastic. So if somebody wants to learn more, right? Do you have a website? What do you guys do?
QuickInspect.net. If you
Okay.
Google QuickInspect, it's all one word, you'll find us. But QuickInspect.net, you can find us on YouTube. You can, if you need help and you want to call me directly, you can reach out and just send me an email at jeff@quickinspect.net, or log into the app. Go to the app, QuickInspect.app, and start an app for free. You get 3
Nice.
free reports. You can check it out. And in the chat bubble, if you have questions, send us a chat. I'll be the first one to answer. And that's probably a better way to reach me.
There you go. That sounds good, man. Yeah. And then pricing, do you have pricing on your website, or do they need to reach out for a quote?
It's on the website. It's $9.99 per report if you want to do it per report, or if you want to pay us monthly, you pay us $70 a month or $700 a year, one or the other.
Got it.
But we're working on a completely different pricing model too that's a little more flexible. So if you will.
Well, and as you add multiple inspectors, I imagine that changes your pricing model a little. And so there's.
We have all that accounted for, but we're working on a more metered pricing model to where it's pay-per-use kind of.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
All right, we'll keep an eye out for that for sure.
Implemented for customers in the past that we're working on the back end.
That's awesome, man. Well, Jeff, thank you so much for being on the show. This has been fascinating, kind of learning more about your software. And hopefully we'll have some inspectors maybe reach out and see if maybe QuickInspect is the right fit for them.
Perfect. Love that.
Awesome, man.
Let me know. We can help you.
All right. Thanks a lot, Jeff.
Thank you so much, Matt. Have a good day.
Yeah.